Hi, my name is Melissa Berry, and I was diagnosed with stage 1 triple-negative breast cancer in 2013.
Hi, I'm Valerie Blackwell, and I was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer in 2018.
Valerie, it is so great to see you.
You too, Melissa.
I just love these conversations, and I'm so glad that we're able to be here today to share our experience with triple-negative breast cancer. We both know how scary triple-negative breast cancer can be. How did you cope with it when you first found out, like that initial diagnosis?
My initial diagnosis was very rough for me. And it was so funny because I was in a house by myself when I was first diagnosed. And I didn't know when the doctor called me to cry, to yell, to scream. And what I really did, I just got down on my knees and pray. And what I did, I heard a voice say that you're going to be okay. You're going to go through what you have to go through, but you're going to be okay. And it was scary. I was fearful. I was afraid. I didn't know what, because you don't know the unknown, so.
Exactly. You just don't know. And like for me, there's so much breast cancer in my family, and
Really?
I have the BRCA gene, and I was very closely monitored, and it was just like a very routine mammogram appointment that I was going for. And when they told me that it was breast cancer, I felt like it was an out-of-body experience. I don't know how to explain it. Like you said, you're angry, you're scared. It was, for me, mostly, I think, disbelief. I thought to myself, it can't be that breast cancer. It just can't be.
But isn't it so funny also that we not only, when we first diagnose or we hear that diagnosis, that we worry about ourselves, but we worry about our family also.
Oh my
And
gosh.
listen, we worry about our children, we worry about our spouse. So all those things went through my mind. Who's going to help take care of my kids? Who's going to help take care of my grands? Who's going to help with my husband? And I kind of like pulled myself to the background because I didn't want to believe that I had triple negative.
You nailed it. I mean, I think it makes us look at our mortality, you know,
Right.
and you think about yourself and your own life, but then your family and, you know, who's going to care for them. And it's just so, the whole experience is very scary. So would you say, as far as reoccurrence, so, you know, we definitely talked about just now, like the initial diagnosis, but what is your feeling on fear of reoccurrence? Do you think about it? Did you think about it when you were first diagnosed? Do you think about it now?
I never really thought about it, but we have to know as triple negative breast cancer patients that fear, we have to normalize fear because it's part of life. But if we normalize it, we know that we care about life. So my diagnosis I had to say that fear can't live in my house. Faith and fear can't live in the same house. So I have to choose one. And I had to find resources and people to help me cope with that fear that I was having.
Yeah, I mean, the whole recurrence topic it's heavy. And I think we all deal with it in a different way.
I don't ever think that we get over this fear because we never know what's life gonna bring to us, but we just have to make sure that we're having the right diet, that we're exercising, that we're taking a 15-30 minute walk a day. Have a dance party in your house for 15 minutes a day.
Right, all those little things.
All those little things, and try to live life, because we can't choose. We didn't choose to have this breast cancer, but we can choose how we live our life. So we have to just be happy.
Exactly. Like, as far as fear, is there anything that triggers it, that's a trigger for you, that takes you back maybe to that first moment when you were diagnosed, when you were just completely, you know, freaked out?
Social media. I try to stay up. I try to encourage my sisters that have triple negative breast cancer through social media outlets, but there are times where I have to back up and walk away. When the conversation gets too deep, I try not to get involved with those conversations because I try to take out any negativity out of my life, because when it starts, I'm worried about reoccurrence. I'm worried. I don't want to speak those things into my life, so I just take a back seat, I move myself away, and then I come back in.
Right. Well, I mean, thank you for sharing that. I would think for me, my trigger is when I go for my appointments. When I'm in the doctor's office, it's the smell of the office, maybe it's even the rubbing alcohol when they do the blood test. It just takes me back to that place. And I feel like that's really the only time I ever really think about it because I really try not to, but we all have our triggers, and we're all so different, and that for me that's a big one. And I try and talk myself out of it when I'm going for a follow-up, but I get sad, I get scared, I get anxious.
My doctor's appointment made me feel secure. As long as I know my doctor's like, can I see you 3 months? Because recently they was telling me you're going to start coming to me 4 months. I said, why 4 months? I still want to continue with the 3 months.
It is. It's like a little cocoon.
Because it's
right?
like my security blanket. It took me like 2 years to have my port taken out because my port was my security blanket. I thought if I got my port taken out that, I didn't know if this triple negative was going to come back, and why take it out if it's going to come back? So leave my port in. I didn't want my port in because at that time I was fearful that it may happen again.
And I'm happy to say that I just learned today that you turned your port into a beautiful necklace because it is a part of your experience and it gives you comfort.
Yes.
And we all, I think, find comfort in different ways.
Exactly. I tell my sisters, just look for someone that you can speak to. Find someone that is also diagnosed with breast cancer and let them help you get through this, because none of us have to walk alone through this journey, because we all fear that reoccurrence. And some of us keep it in the forefront and some of us put it behind. So we have to just choose which one we're going to do.
Exactly. It's so true. It's so true. So body image.
Oh, God.
I know. This is a big one. So how did you perceive your body image after your diagnosis, and what major issues did you have after having a bilateral mastectomy and breast reconstruction?
My major issues was my hair loss. I had a double mastectomy, so that was an issue for me. The weight gain, the weight loss. And I lost a lot of weight I really looked sick at the time. So I had issues with my tooth, the teeth falling out, and different issues with my skin. My skin was so pale. So there was a lot of issues. And just think about when I went into the shower and I was taking a shower and I was pulling and, just washing your hair in the shower and stuff, a whole chunk of hair came out. And I started crying. I had my husband sit me down and I have him shave my hair because I didn't want the chemo to take my hair away from me. I wanted to be in control. So I was like, just shave it, because at that point I was like, let's just shave it, because just let me have some type of control over something in my life, because during that time I didn't feel like I had any control of anything.
Absolutely. I have a similar story. It's crazy. My daughter, Erica, at the time was very young. And you know how kids, they say, I want to be a firefighter. She wanted to be a hairdresser. And so I woke up one morning and my hair was itching me so badly. And my hairdresser had said, when it gets really itchy, just shave it off. Because at the time I cut it really short. And I was about to hit it with the razor. It was really early in the morning and I heard a knock at the door. It was my daughter. And I said, Erica, do you want to shave mommy's head? She was like, yeah. So we went into the bathtub and she shaved my hair. And honestly, I think that turned into one of the darkest, it could have been one of the most darkest moments, but it actually was quite beautiful because she was part of it and she kind of made me laugh about it a little bit. What else can you do? Yeah,
that's how I felt about when I had my double mastectomy. I would not look in the mirror. It took me about 8 months to even look in the mirror. I would always walk past the mirror. Every mirror in my house, I would just walk past really quickly. And then, like I said, one day my husband saw me coming out the shower. And when he saw me coming out the shower, he always noticed that I would walk past the mirror. And he took me in front of the mirror and held me and said, you know what? Without breasts, without anything, I'm still going to love you. It doesn't make a difference if you have breasts, if you don't have breasts, because, we as females, our looks and our body shapes, our body image is everything.
Everything. We don't even like to try on swimsuits, let alone, lose our breasts, right?
Exactly. I'm saying we already have weight issues. We worry about our diets. We worry about, because we're so busy taking care of everyone else that sometimes we forget about ourselves. And so it became I became more aware of my body image during my treatment, because I had more time to sit at home and, oh, look, I'm gaining weight, or I'm not eating, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. I don't have no breasts. I don't even have a bra that I can fit no more.
Right.
So what do I do now? And even when my husband wanted to hold me or just we don't even talk about sex, because that's part of body image. That what
Absolutely.
You do, pull the covers over yourself?
Absolutely. No, it's a really, I mean, talk about vulnerable. I mean, for me,
It's tough. I know.
I felt like a shell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. I felt like a shell of a woman, and that's why I do what I do today, because I don't want anyone to ever feel that way, and it's hard because you lose your hair, you lose your brows, your lashes, your breasts,
exactly,
and you don't feel like a woman anymore. And it's so hard to see the other side of it when you're done with treatment and your hair grows back and your breasts are reconstructed and the lashes come back, and it's so almost impossible to see that there's another side to this.
And nobody truly understands what you're going through, because you're by yourself. I'm saying, even though you may have your mother, I have my sister, I have my husband, I have my daughter, but nobody understood what I was going through. And they can tell me, oh, you look beautiful, mommy, you're okay, mommy, we love you. But that didn't help, because it was difficult just seeing myself in another light. And like you said, you do feel like just a shell, an empty
I felt like
shell.
like a shell of myself. Or I used to say it's horrible, like a ghost of myself. And it's horrible to say those words because it's morbid and it's so sad, you know. But I guess, you know, when we go through this transformation, if you will, of, you know, getting rid of the disease,
Yes.
and then losing our breasts and then putting ourselves back together again, it's a lot. Not just physically, but emotionally to endure.
Yeah, I like the way, like you said, transformation, because it really is a transformation. But I don't know if we ever fully put ourselves back together. We take one day at a time, one step at a time. We try to say, like you said, we advocate for other breasties to make sure that what we didn't get, that we try to help them. So that's where I find my joy at now, just being able to help other people cope with their diagnosis of breast cancer.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, and I love speaking to, you know, women like you and I, because our perspectives are different, but so many things are the same. Once your treatment ended, how did you relate to your body? Like, did you see it differently?
My body image, I wasn't really worried about. What I was concerned about was my weight, because I went down to maybe about like 165 pounds, but during that time I actually looked sick. Ooh. I didn't feel like I was healthy.
It wasn't like a healthy
165.
Got
exactly.
It.
So it really scared me, because when I looked in the mirror and I was like, my skin was dark and you could see the dark patches in your skin, and I just didn't feel normal. I was a runner. I would run 5 miles a day. And after breast cancer, I couldn't run like that anymore. And I'm still trying to get back into those activities I used to do. So it's really hard.
Good for you. Yeah, it's very hard to find. I don't think it's about finding yourself again. It's about finding your new you. And I really think that's the biggest lesson. It's really hard, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a really long time. I think for me, the initial shock of losing my breasts was really, really difficult for me, and my hair loss. And then I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised about my breast reconstruction. And I don't know if I've ever gone on record to actually say this, but I breastfed both of my daughters. And for a long time, and I definitely favored my left breast, so they were not symmetrical, let's just leave it there. And I would never want to have had to go through what I went through, but at the end of the day, I actually am happier with my breasts now. So for me, I was able to really accept my new body after my reconstruction and after the healing and all of that, but I also experienced weight gain from the drugs, right, from the chemo. Like, there were some days I didn't want to eat anything, and some days it was almost like being pregnant. I wanted like macaroni and cheese and bagels and all the carbs. So it was like a very inconsistent diet. So I felt like I had to lose weight, but I think, and I'm sure you probably agree, you can't do everything at once, especially when you're healing. So I took it slow. You know, I had the breast reconstruction. I started to do some yoga, and then eventually went back to some weight training, and incorporated slowly these things back into my life, got back into work again, but it's a process.
It really is, because I used to go to when I go see my doctor, and I was so concerned with the weight gain. And he used to tell me, don't worry about the weight gain. He said, you're doing okay. He said, everything, your blood works, everything is coming back fine. So you're worrying about the weight loss. But I was like, I wasn't this heavy. I wasn't this, but I also lost the weight. So he said, you was complaining when you was 165.
Right.
You're complaining now.
Right.
And I said, he just said, take one day at a time. You have to just take one day at a time. And I'm trying to really live that by taking one day at a time. Like I said, I know my grandson tried to remind me, Grandma, it's time for you to get on a bike. Do your 15 minutes. And I'm like,
that's so great.
Okay. And he pushed, get on the bike, Grandma. You say you was going to get on the bike. And he'll come in the room and say, okay, let's lift some weights. And I'm like, okay, we got to lift some weights
right.
okay, today. But I'm trying to, like you say, get back into those, trying to normalize things again.
Absolutely. And that's such a beautiful perspective, and I really think what you're saying will help so many. I wish I had listened to you when I was in the thick of it. But what would you say really helped you accept the new you and feeling positive about your body again?
What helped me was that I had, during my quiet moments, I had to sit and just think about what was important in my life, what really was important in my life. And I wasn't just talking about, this, that, I had to really, I taught, was spiritual, was it my diet, was it just everything for me, my physical, what was important, and I had to figure out those things first. And once I realized what was important to me, I said, I'm going to get rid of all the negativity out of my life. First of all, I have to get the stress. There are some good stress things in your life, but to get rid of the things that was causing me stress. If somebody was bringing negative vibes towards me, I was like, let's get rid of the negative vibes. Only positive energy can live in my life now.
Me accepting my new me, I don't know if it was one particular thing, and it definitely happened over a long period of time, but I think looking at my daughters and wanting to be a role model for them, overcoming things, and just, doing nice things for myself. We always hear about Self-Care Sunday and all those things, but I think, taking good care of yourself also helps to accept your new you, and not to look externally for something that's going to help you to accept that, but to try and accept yourself and love yourself the way that you are. But certainly, our community is amazing, and I think that we share the love, and look, we all have our moments when we don't feel like ourselves, even 8 years out. I will tell you, I never thought I'd be sitting here. I was a fashion and beauty publicist. Okay. I didn't even want anyone to know that I had breast cancer. So talk about going full circle, now being an advocate. And I think that, who knew?
We have so much in common, because I didn't want no one to know that I had breast cancer.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I sat there, the only person I told was my sisters, my brothers, my children, and my husband. And I told them, don't tell anyone, because I felt like it was like a spot on me. Like I didn't want everybody just feeling, sad or discouraging. So I wouldn't allow them to tell anyone. I would not allow them to tell them. Then one morning I woke up and like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to share my story now. I'm comfortable with it. And I'm glad that I was able to get to that point to share my story, because I didn't want anyone to know that I have.
It's hard. I remember when I was diagnosed, this is how scared I was. When I was first diagnosed, I was so relieved to hear that I was going to have chemotherapy during the summer, because I didn't want to go to drop my daughter off and pick her up at school with a wig on. And I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. We should be able to go through the treatment and still live our lives and not hide and not be scared. So I hope, again, that's another good lesson that we're hopefully sharing here, that it's nothing to be ashamed of, and
right.
People want to help, your network wants to help, and we're all different. There's different, feelings that we have about, sharing the news with, our family members, our coworkers. It's scary, and it's a huge transition.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody, just embrace your new self, because it's really a new you. So embrace your baldness, embrace your breast or flat chested, whatever you're gonna choose to do. Just embrace yourself, embrace life. Just be happy. Because like I said earlier, that we don't choose to have breast cancer, but we can choose how we live this life.
So what would you say are some words of wisdom that you would share with others that are diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer?
To never give up hope, to just know that you can overcome this breast cancer diagnosis. Know that with faith, all things are possible, and that we have to keep persevering and know that there are strengths in numbers, that you have all your sisters and all your brothers that are fighting battling breast cancer too, and that you're never alone. You have so many outlets for people that can help you. Just reach out to your doctors, reach out to your friends, reach out to your therapists, whoever you need to reach out, even your children, because I found that my grandson brought so much joy during my time of diagnosis. So just continue to fight.
That's amazing, and I couldn't agree with you more that sometimes, you know, the advice to give to someone is just to simply reach out and to accept help when people offer it, and you can find it in so many different places these days, including in your own home. So thank you so much for talking to me today. This has been amazing.
You're welcome.